class. It's great. I have learned how to do a throat punch, and I suggest
Are you saying
everybody.
you didn't know how to do that before?
I did not know how to do a throat punch before, and now I do. Um, but there's a great meditation class coming up in the next couple of weeks. There's art classes and writing, and um, as part of this discussion was that we wanted to see what do people show up for in case we wanted to fund something going forward. So if there's something that you really like, you've got to sign up for it and show up for it. So try out the sound baths and sign up for the sewing classes, and it's all really great stuff.
Thank you. Item number 4, the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Is there a second?
I had a thing about one of them.
Yes.
The
Let me just get a second. Can someone second?
Second.
Okay, go ahead, Molly.
the shellfishing, there's a misspelling. It's not a big deal. It's just on the top, it's Catherine Puckett's name is spelled wrong.
Oh. Wonder if it was wrong in the document.
Just like,
Thank you. We can fix that.
yeah,
Terrific.
I figured. I just,
Excellent. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
I do have a comment on the consent agendas going forward, though. I'm not sure that correspondence should be under the consent agenda. It seems to me it should be separate because we vote to receive correspondence, not to approve it.
Right.
And that deafening silence means what? Do we move correspondence off of it in the future or not?
I don't have strong feelings about it, honestly.
I mean, we could do them as two separate, we could accept correspondence and we could, and if you want to,
Yeah, I'm just saying, don't have it under the consent agenda, have it the next item. It doesn't take any more time, but it just isn't, we vote to receive, we don't approve. I'm just technical. Okay,
Can we put receive correspondence on the consent agenda? Is that, you're concerned about the verb?
can we do that? Can we just change the language? Okay, great.
Discuss and act on board, commission, and committees. Adoption of the revised role alarming communications officer. Amy, do you want to brief us on this?
I do. I'm actually kind of excited about this.
Yes. Yeah.
So the town has historically had an alarm officer that is appointed in December with all of the other appointments. Although when we looked into it, there was not a clear definition of the function or the responsibilities or the qualifications. At the same time, we have a fire alarm monitoring system that is in evolution. And there's been an individual who's been very responsible for that since its implementation in maintenance and deployment and now the upgrades. At the same time, we also have a communication system that is owned by the town that has a very similar skill set and also a similar sort of nebulous status, meaning it's been a joint effort of fire and the town, although owned by the town, managed by a fire volunteer over the years. And it seemed like the right opportunity to codify those responsibilities as responsibilities of the town of New Shoreham. They are assets that we own, and formalize those under an alarm and communications officer, which currently, as I said, is an appointed role within the town, as a next step to bringing those under the town's umbrella with a chain of responsibility and responsiveness, at the same time that we started last year bringing the funding obligations into the town budget, so that we're also bringing the management and the oversight. And eventually, Marianne had proposed that being a staff position as well, which again is part of the natural evolution of the responsibility for those two systems, though they are distinct within the town, the fire alarm monitoring and the communications. So my request and recommendation is that we update that title to be the alarm and communications officer. And then in the subsequent step is a recommendation to appoint our longstanding volunteer to that role. I guess one of the other elements is it is an appointed position, which makes that reporting a little bit unusual in this stage. But the anticipation is that that role operates under the guidance of the town manager with the direct input of both the police chief and the fire chief. And so they've been involved in these conversations as well.
Great. Comments, thoughts?
I do. I think going back, it said in the 76, actually it was in the 80s when we went to the dispatch center year round, and both Peter Blaine and Howell Conant have done yeoman's work on the radio systems over the course of these years. They really did. From the licensing and maintaining it and so forth. I agree with the direction this is going in. The one thing I think is really important, and I know we're talking about morphing this into hopefully where it'd be a town position and so forth. I think the structure of the accountability through the town manager is extremely important. Because when you talk about this alarm stuff, you're talking, it's expensive. There's a lot of things that have to be purchased and so forth. And I think the town manager really needs to have, and I know in here we have his guidance. I'd almost like to see it a little bit stronger, only so everyone's clear who's responsible for what.
I think once it's a staff position, yes, but given that it's an appointment of the town council, we can't quite say that yet.
Right. What is that time frame? Are we hoping in this current budget to have some type of stipend towards and go towards that? Or
Yes, you'll have a proposal in the 26 budget. I can't tell you how expansive it will
Sure.
be, depending on what we can afford. So,
And then the movement to it being on the structure?
Yep.
That will run parallel with? it?
yes.
Great.
I just had a question. In the past, we had involvement with our IT people with the alarm system. I don't know what the job description for Freedom Tech is, or if it even includes that at all anymore.
It does not specifically include the fire alarm monitoring system. But given our new system, there is a fairly dedicated technical end to that. That's part of our service agreement. Freedom Tech will assist with connectivity as needed, but we have a fairly robust set of consultants to assist in that deployment. So it's not something I'm concerned about.
The consultants through Freedom Tech? or-
Both ours and the vendors. So,
So you would like from us a motion to approve your recommendation and to appoint Howell as the communications
if
officer?
you want to do them as one, that'd be great.
So can I have a motion to approve Amy's recommendation contained in this memo and appoint Howell Conant as the alarm and communications officer? Is that correct?
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Building committee. It says here, there's someone who wants to be on it. Do you have to excuse yourself from taking minutes for? Could I have a motion to appoint Keisha Phillips Brown to the Public Safety Building Committee?
Second.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Coastal Resilience Committee. Judy, I see you here. Is this?
We have a letter.
Yeah, we have a letter. You're always welcome to come forward.
I was gonna say.
Good evening. Yes, I have no idea. I saw it on the agenda, so I'm here because I'm very
Jean
curious.
Louis?
Jean-Louis, yes,
Okay.
Farges,
It says Jean-Louis.
Jean-Louis
Wasn't sure how
Farges.
to pronounce it. That was why.
Jean-Louis, yes.
I don't-
Yes, are you asking me if he's an acceptable candidate? Because he certainly is. I'm the reason he's applied.
Oh, okay, that's.
Yeah, I encouraged a couple of people to apply. It takes a while for people to, but he jumped right on it, so I'm
I
happy
don't
to
know
have him.
so
And-
I-
Is this his last name or does he have another?
What's it, Farges?
Jean Louis? Is there a last name?
Yeah, I think it's Farges or Barges. I can't remember. Farge. Listen, Jean-Louis lives in the brilliant orange house on Lakeside Drive. You know him. He's fabulous.
A-R-G-E, yeah.
Okay, Farge, yes, Farges, yeah. Okay. I'm sure I was pronouncing it incorrectly.
Yes.
Don't speak
That's great.
Quebecois
So,
very well.
I would make the motion that we appoint him. I just think we need a last name in order to appoint him.
Oh,
That's what I was
yes.
Asking, but it is F-A-R.
Yes, okay.
So it's
Okay.
Jean-Louis Farget? Or
Or-
Farges?
Yeah.
However you pronounce it.
Second.
Second, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you, Judy,
Thank you very much.
checking out my pronunciation. Transportation Safety Committee, we have several. We have Martin Milner. We have Mark Emanuel. We have Leo Leone. We have Judy Clark. We have Paul Filippi.
So I'm looking at the makeup of the committee. It says a representative of the business community. And we have two representatives of the one representative.
Did we ever send invitations to the moped license holders and on the rental holders? Remember?
Yeah, we haven't decided to do that. And we have 3 licensees here,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So
which seems to me, if we're not going to focus solely on mopeds, I think 3 is an appropriate number.
I would make a motion that we appoint Paul Filippi, Leo Leone, Martin Milner, Judy Clark. And then could Mark Emanuel, he's written a letter, could he be the
Yes.
representative for the rescue squad?
I don't think he's
No.
on the rest.
Is he not on the rescue squad any longer or? So business community, Judy has a business. We
Yeah.
have members of the moped licenses. Okay, for the moment, I'm just gonna say those 4.
There's a second.
So you've got Leo Leone also in there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul Filippi, Leo
It's
Leone,
everybody on-
Martin
Marty
Milner,
Milner.
Judy Clark.
Yep.
Those in favor of that?
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Marty.
Yes.
But then we still need 2 town council members.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Who wants it?
Oh, good.
I'll do it with you. Is there a motion to appoint Tristan and me?
So move.
Second,
Second,
all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Tristan, I look forward to spending more time with you. We don't get time. Let's see, discuss and act on the salary stipend for the Board of Assessors. So we have to vote that we are not going to do anything.
They would request that you take no action.
Take no action.
I
We
heard
don't
a
even
lot
have to-
about this.
Did you?
So we don't have
Yes.
to do anything.
Right.
All right, great. Vacancies, Commission on Motor Vehicles for Hire, which I believe I've read it every, for the last 18 months. Sewer District, Water District, Juvenile Hearing Board, and Tree Warden. Please sign up.
I think on the tree warden, was Ned Phillips the tree warden in the
He
past?
was.
Yeah.
I saw him on the boat and I took a little job, say, hey, and he goes, oh, I'm still gonna do that.
Oh,
So I don't know if there's it could be Ned too, but it might be worth
yeah.
reaching back out to
Yeah,
him and just,
absolutely.
because he said he would,
Sure.
yeah.
Great.
He may have said if you have someone else, but it might be worth reaching out to him.
I talked to someone who's not quite certified yet, but working on it. So
Good.
Item number 6,
I think Mike
Keith?
has it.
oh, I'm sorry, Mike.
I spoke to 2 different arborists about that position and they both declined.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
One wasn't Ned, was it, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay.
Item number 6, we've been asked to postpone until February 19th. Travel issues. Item 7, discuss and act on the request of the Harbors Committee to seek legislation to increase the landing fee.
Hi, everybody.
hi.
Hello,
Uh,
Pat.
Patrick Evans, Harbor Committee. I'm here because of discussions over the past months with the Harbors Committee Commission, looking for the opportunity to increase the landing fees for town purposes. And we think it's about time, truly. It hasn't gone anywhere since the 80s, I believe. Gets renewed every year in October. I think the money's come in December, I'm not sure. I think it's worth discussion. So,
50 cents
50
for us.
50 cents.
And your timing is great because we're doing legislative agenda on Wednesday.
Hmm.
And this was one of the items that I wanted to discuss too. Pat.
Excellent.
Yeah, perfect.
Good.
Thank you.
Cool.
You did such a fabulous. job.
Thank you. Anything else, let me know.
On Wednesday.
Item 8, receive and act on recommended revisions to the management plan for Town Owed Breed Land and Saucon Pond. What do we have to learn here?
So we got going here. So Mike had identified that there were some changes in the mowing schedule for the Breedland. And that reminded us that there is formally a management plan that the council had previously adopted. And so we wanted to take the opportunity to update it, make sure it was current, and make a few other tweaks just so that it continues to be useful going forward.
Hello, Mike.
Hello there. Myself and Bill Kennelly have had a conversation about this. Bill does the mowing out there and he brought to my attention. Yes. Of course it is. So Bill and he brought to my attention that what he's finding when he mows these fields is that the woody material is coming back. And that's one of the things why we started this, was to get rid of that, get it to more of a meadow type. The way we're doing it now is on a 3-year rotation. And we're finding by the time it gets to that 3rd year, it's gone too far.
Yep.
So what we want to do is every other year on these. And I conferred with our expert, Kim Gaffett, on the issue, and she was, she agreed that that's what we'd like to do.
My dog's paws agree too.
I'll make a motion if you want Keith to accept the changes to the management plan.
Can I
In a second.
Oh, yeah, I'm good with that. But can I just ask a quick question? What's the expense to mow that property? Just totally on board with every other year, but I just was curious, like, is that a big budget issue or no? Amy's saying no. It looks beautiful, by the way. I think it was just mowed, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
the northern
Yeah.
two lots, yes. So like next year, we'll do the one to the south there.
Okay. Okay.
I
good,
think-
good.
I-
You don't
I
this-
think
you don't
that's
This is
what it
like a
was.
budget impact. I'm still in favor of it.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Nancy, sorry.
Yeah, there was a management suggestion at the end here that I was wondering about, that to add all of the breed land to the Saucon Pond wildlife refuge. That's not included in this if we change the mowing, correct?
No, only
No.
the stuff in red would be changed. That's how I understood.
That is true, and that is exactly how it was adopted previously. This is the version that was adopted by the council in 2018.
Yeah.
Minus the red lines, so. I
So-
don't believe additional action was taken at that time.
Oh, I'm not following. You saying it was because the council adopted it in 2018? That suggestion was adopted?
I'm saying what we do here tonight isn't going to change it because we're adopting the exact same language that was already adopted.
Can we get Jim up there?
I always assumed that adopting the management plan was not the same as making that change. That was just a recommendation. And it was, I'll tell you, the basis of the recommendation is that the Sock'em Pond Refuge outlines goes from the road, and it doesn't include the land, rest of the land and the breed land to the south. So it was a recommendation that you include all of that. But I think, to change the Sock'em Pond Refuge, you would have to make an ordinance change, that is a
Yeah.
town ordinance that stipulates what the Sock'em Pond Refuge is, and it has a mechanism for changing it. I don't feel strongly about that. I just thought is there a burning issue? No,
Yeah.
no burning issue. It's just for consistency's sake.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it was. So, but I never assumed that by adopting the management plan that was automatically adopting.
No, I didn't. It doesn't Have
recommendations.
to be by ordinance.
Right, it has to be by ordinance.
So is that something the council would like to follow up on? Or not necessarily?
Probably I should let sleeping dogs lie,
was
although
gonna
I
say-
don't think it's a bad idea personally, but.
We can take it up at some point, but I don't think it's a critical issue right now.
May I make a few other comments about this?
Sure. Of course.
Someday, well, first of all, the Sock'em Pond Refuge is not meant to allow hunting. So we did allow it a long time ago for deer, and it may be coming to the time that in the future, you might want to rescind that permission for that refuge. That's the one thing. The other thing is, I'm not sure, there's part of the recommendation was about the timing of the mowing. And I think even though it says in there to do it in the summer, it's been being done in the winter. There's good reasons for doing both. I don't think you changed it in this. No.
We
No.
did not.
Yeah, and I think we should leave it, but I think Mike and I should just confer over the next year or two to see if we need to change that. The reason to mow in the summer is to get the black swallow wart, which is strongly in the field adjacent to Hodge, before it goes to seed. But if you mow that at that time, then you're getting rid of the meadow flowers and the goldenrod and milkweed. So it's a big trade-off. The budding neighbor, the Duffs, have been mowing every year, and I'd like a few more years to look at how their field is looking at all times of the year before we move to make a change one way or the other.
Is that the field that goes up the hill?
It's the field with a house on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like sort of up
After
the
you
hill.
drive.
Yes,
Right?
up the hill, yeah.
Okay.
So, and they, we talk all the time about how's it looking over there, that kind of thing.
It looks great.
Yeah,
beautiful.
the grasses are great in there, so I'm not sure there's as many flowers for
Right,
that reason.
right.
So,
A lot of pheasants.
yes, we
A lot
don't
of
want to
pheasants.
disturb one single pheasant.
Hey, Kim, can I ask you, you had mentioned the deer, they rescinded it and they allowed hunting. Do you know, how many years was that for, do you know? And do you know if it was productive?
Say it again?
They rescinded about for the hunting for the deer?
So the Saucon Pond Refuge specifically says there's no hunting there.
Right.
But there was so much pressure at one point for deer hunting to open that up and allow the property owner, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. So Saucon Pond Refuge is like an overlay.
Right.
So that U.S. Fish and Wildlife parcel is in that overlay. And I was on the council, and it's one of the few things I regret doing, succumbing to pressure. I think it's part of that decision at the time did call for an annual report from U.S. Fish and Wildlife about how many deer were taken there to find out if it was really worth that sacrifice. I consider it a sacrifice. And I just don't think there's enough being taken out of there, and that we should reestablish that sanctuary, that refuge for its intent, the town.
I recall last year that it was a relatively small number of deer.
Right.
Like
So,
nine.
I mean, I don't, I'm saying what I would like.
Mhm.
But I know that it's a hot button item, so.
Yeah.
Do what you can.
Kim, can I ask you, are you and Mike officially the management group? Should we?
I'm not official anything. I'm just a citizen who cares about this.
It seems to me we ought to officially name, the two of you to the management group.
Not really sure it's necessary, but.
Well, but that was one of the first questions I had when this came up.
You have
Sure.
the cab committee also.
It's just something that I've felt passionately about since a long time, and feel like it's in my, what they say, wheelhouse. So
Yeah, and it
I don't
seems to
think-
me there are certain things that we ought to, quantify, for the record here. And, we don't necessarily have to do it tonight. We can put it on an agenda, but I
Sure.
think we should,
I mean, I think it's working just great the way it is, and I wouldn't want to complicate anything for you with your job, would that complicate things? If we start
I
assigning
guess
you?
I'd have to ask, but.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that there's any
Oh,
conflict.
you better imagine.
I mean, I think it's with
Yeah.
you're sort
I'll
of.
ask, and I
Check it.
appreciate the nod of confidence. I feel like it's not necessary for me, but I'll find out.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Kim, as always.
Thanks, Mike.
We voted on it, right? Did we vote on that?
think
No,
we-
we didn't.
we did not.
We had, Bill made the motion, Tristan or Molly seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. And item number 9, request of Scenic Block Island regarding seeking the designation of scenic roadways for Block Island, which I have seen on our agenda since 2000, whenever.
Hey,
Hello.
all right, Scenic Block Island is again, Roberta
Name,
McCormick.
address.
Scenic Block Island is again bringing the request for you to apply for the scenic roadways designation back before the council. We've made a presentation to the planning board as you requested, and you should have received their letter of support last spring. For a little background, the designation was recommended to Mike Shea by the previous chairman of the Rhode Island Scenic Roadways Board in 2021. Mike brought it to the attention of the Scenic Block Island Board, of which he is a member, because he felt this would be beneficial for the island. The Scenic Block Island Board, then brought it to the town council's attention in December of '22, and we were referred to the planning board for their consideration, and they supported the designation. So we are now bringing it back before you with urgency, as RIDOT will be scheduling replacement of our guardrails and other improvements shortly. And obtaining this designation will enable us to get more aesthetically pleasing guardrails, for one. This designation is not punitive of any way. The guidelines from the Rhode Island Scenic Board are suggestions only, but it will help the town to support and defend the comprehensive community plans language in Section 8 under transportation, which we included in your outline of the process, which needs to be followed. By applying for this designation, we have nothing to lose and everything to gain. We are simply asking that you discuss whether or not this council is willing to submit the application and vote as soon as possible to pursue this designation of scenic roadways. Tonight would be great since we're moving through this agenda really quickly. But Mike is here for any questions that you may have.
Mike, you're square with this idea? Amy, you're square with this idea?
There is a certain amount of work that's involved. My question is, when and who, including the measurements of the road and notice to all the property owners. It's,
Every abutter, correct?
yeah.
Yes.
Put it out to everybody, sorry. We're aware of the fact about notifying abutters, but we're discussing earlier, could we just send it out to everyone on the island? Just got all that. That would probably be easier than trying to figure out who's actually a butter and just say, we're applying for this. And then you're covering the abutters as well. That was just a thought we had to try to simplify.
I guess, what's the requirement?
The requirement is the notice to
Notice
each
to
butter.
property, yeah.
This is the kind of thing where I think we would at least have a conversation with the board and the administrators about whether there's a process or whether they will entertain a process for an entire community, similar to, say, bringing broadband to DEM, and whether they'll consider a blanket notice for an entire community. If they say no, then we go back to the instructions as written, but there may be accommodation for the entire island. We'll ask.
What constitutes notice? I'm just wondering whether you can publish it, for example, in a newspaper.
That is also a requirement
It's also
in
a
addition.
requirement.
Yeah, and you have to have a
honestly, I
public
didn't
meeting
think
on
the
top
steps.
of that too. But you also have to have all the road dimensions,
Yes.
which is,
Yeah.
yeah. I would just add that I don't think that we're going to be getting any money for for the roadways from DOT in any short period of time. So I don't think there's a major rush. It's not like they're doling out any dollars at all at this point. But
But
Mike?
I think when you talk about a project being shovel ready, this is what we're talking about. Like, we're ready and, when we met with our state senator last week, she indicated that she thought that the state would be level funded, but not overfunded, which she said meant departments would be funded, which means DOT will be funded. So we stand a chance.
I mean, as far as scenic roadways and trying to acquire this designation, this has been going on for
I know.
years. I mean,
Yeah.
It was even before us.
Yeah.
DOT has to do something with these roads, and it has to happen soon. Right? They're beyond at this point, so it's got to be done quickly.
But also my understanding from previous conversations when this group has come to us, there's other things that this addresses, like preventing homeowners from creating ugly situations along the roadway or. right?
Yes, those situations I think are going to be far and few. I don't think that's
Yeah,
going
right.
to be the issue, and I don't think it's going to be used all that often. The biggest threat I see is DOT doing work and following federal standards, which is
Or
going to
not
put up
seeing.
signage of federal standards. They're going to do guardrails of federal standards. This will give us a little leeway.
Yep.
So we don't have to follow those federal standards.
So Mike, does it give you, obviously, you can't circumvent what the federal guideline is, but does this require them to find
Yeah.
alternatives, say,
Yes.
from a metal guardrail to a wooden guardrail, that
Correct.
type of thing?
Correct. I mean, it would be, we keep using the guardrails as an example, but it's a good one. Yes, we could do there's different styles out there, the wooden ones with the metal backing on it. Wouldn't have the sharp edges on it, but it would meet the standards.
So this
Yes.
means we get Merritt Parkway instead of I-95.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
I love that.
Signage, instead of using galvanized metal posts, we'd have a wooden post. curbing. Could be granite curbing as opposed to cement curbing, little subtle things that, fit more into our character.
Mhm.
It also puts the responsibility on the town road crew. Is that you have to keep it up to those standards too. You can't just neglect the roads and let them go unmowed and untrimmed and the walls overgrown. They have to keep up with it also,
So
which
the
is what
process-
they're doing now, but future road crews have to.
So the
have to keep up those
process is that the council votes to apply.
Mhm.
The application gets filed. And simultaneously abutters are notified.
Mhm.
So we don't have to wait to apply until the notices go out.
So to sort of follow up what Keith is saying, if we approve the application tonight, that lands it, who's doing the application? But you guys, the committee, or
Approved to move
is it
forward.
Amy? Who are we creating work for?
I think it'd probably be myself planning. I'd probably work with
Jim?
Allison, Jim, Jeremiah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me.
And Scenic Road. Yeah.
It's about time they step
We
up to the
meet
plate.
all the criteria. It's going to be such a simple application. We meet all the requirements.
Mike, can I ask you, so once this is in, say it gets we apply, and we're applying to whom for this?
The Scenic Roadways Board,
Okay.
which
And
is which is state appointed.
So if they give the approval to the application, so DOT goes to whatever their project's gonna be. They need to go to our local board with the plans before they're approved at that time. Is that a binding, or is that the local board gives a recommendation to them?
We would work with them.
Okay.
We would bring it to their attention, either myself
Yeah.
or, whatever, plans that are going forward. DOT would know that this is, we have the scenic roadway designation. They would know to go to that board.
So, I think, so they take from that end of it, and then the plans will go forward.
Yeah.
As far as, what are the other effects? So like if a homeowner puts a driveway in or something like that
Mhm.
onto the state road, does it go before the board also?
That would be like a minor one. If they're
Okay.
doing something really intrusive or
Right.
something, and I would probably bring it to the homeowner's attention and the board's attention to review it. And they would say, no, it's fine, or they would, we'd work together with them on that. And then if it's something very egregious that the homeowner is doing,
Sure.
we would suggest, other methods, calming methods that, would fit into more of the Block Island character.
I guess expanding on that, like you said, a concrete apron versus what, like cobblestone or something like that, you would have oversight over that? And then how far out they protrude from the property line, things like that?
It would be within the state right of way. So it's usually about 10 feet off the road. It does vary throughout the island.
Mhm.
Most of those roads are 40-foot right of ways, with, for the most part, the yellow line being the center.
So all applicants would have to come in front of to get pre-approved?
Not everything.
Not everyone.
No,
Oh.
no. I think something that is intrusive, something that is very glaring.
When you say not everything, Mike, is there, is there like a? like
Maintenance,
on-
maintenance things, for instance. You have to change out a sign, something like that. You don't have to go to the board for that. You're just changing out a sign. Driveways is something I'd like to get an opinion on from the board. Of what they think. I know some people are opposed to the cobblestones, aprons out here. Myself, I think they're fine. I think any type of apron on many of these driveways is advantageous to the road crew and keeping materials off the road and all that sort of thing. My opinion is I like the cobblestones ones.
So, but when you say some would, so this board's established and someone's either gonna put an apron in or the road crew's gonna change a sign. They would have to go to, is there an administrative process? They don't have to go to it if it's minor? Or they would have to go to the board and the board would have its meeting like historical?
Yes, I would probably bring it to the board.
Yeah.
And they would say, no, that's fine. It's just administrative, that's maintenance or something like that. Or if they think it's something that needs more attention, they would maybe bring it to the board. Does that answer that?
No,
No.
not really. You said you would take it to the board. So the board would have like a monthly meeting or whatever. it
Yes.
would be, if there was, well, and you would say, hey, the road crew wants to change these 5 signs. And
Not signs. That's just a very,
Okay.
a
or
basic
apron.
maintenance thing, yeah. It mentions in there, like, as far as sweeping and crack sealing of the roads, that's just maintenance, just you go and do it. A signage, changing a sign would be fine. More a driveway might have to go to the board if it's something that.
So if I was a homeowner, I'm just trying to see what would happen for the homeowner, just so it's clear, everybody. So
Mhm.
homeowner wanted to put in a driveway, whatever it might be.
Yep.
They would, as part of the process, they would notify the board that they want to do this. They could go to them, they don't, and they would present what they want to do. And then the board could either approve it at that,
Yes,
or give some suggestions of whatever it
Yes.
might be.
yes.
And their appeal process to the local board would be the state scenic or.
I would probably bring it to the board, the scenic roadway board. I don't think the homeowner would. These are things that I got to figure out as far as, like, I think an apron is a good example of what they think fits into the Block Island scenic appearance.
I think something also, just like as an example, maybe I'm really off base, but a lot of people seem to be putting up those like granite posts at the end of their driveways, right? So you'd want to make sure that they're not putting them too close to the road, right? Like that they're back on their property and within the proper distance, right? So they're not a face plant for a mopeder. You want to like just make sure people are
Mhm.
following the
Is it gonna,
guidelines.
but is it something that's going to, in order to get your building permit, you have to have this first? In other words, if I was gonna get a building permit and I'm
Mm.
for a property and I'm gonna put a driveway in, is that gonna be a?
Well, you got to get one anyhow, physical alteration permit, put a driveway in. Even if you just,
Right, so you would.
breaking the
You'd
wall.
have to do this first.
that would be
before-
through here.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I need, if I go to apply for my building permit, but I now have to go to this board if I was putting an apron.
You got to get a permit anyhow from us, even if we don't get that designation.
Right,
So, I would probably see that plan for their driveway. And if I think it's something it's crazy, yeah, I might, bring it to the attention of the board.
yeah, I apologize, I'm getting confused here because if I want to put. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's our understanding that the owner insisted on this god awful ugly thing, they can still do it. The board's gonna give them suggestions and hope that they take the suggestions, pointing out that would be better for scenic if you did this instead of this, but they can still insist that they want this god awful ugly driveway and that's fine.
Yeah, it's just an advisory board.
Gotcha.
People's taste is different.
Mhm.
What somebody thinks is beautiful might fit in great in New Jersey, doesn't necessarily fit in great here. But if they're guided a little bit,
Yeah, my concern, I think the big focus is the guardrails and those type of things going. And I just wanted to make sure in that net, we didn't create a bunch of bureaucracy for someone that's trying to remember, that's all, but you've explained it, thank you.
Cindy, come on up. Sorry.
And I'm sorry to be late. I had another meeting. But they, they are looking at scenic vistas too, like stone walls to make sure it's not, a New Jersey stone wall compared to our nice stone walls, that we have. You've seen the new modern ones that have gone up that are not really in keeping, might be something that, that we could suggest and it would go. Also, it's for the tourists and people on the roads to be able to see these vistas and enjoy Block Island. And if someone, we do have an example, there are examples where people have built fences where you can't see the ocean anymore as you're going down the road because someone has done that in their own yard to block it. So they have, their own, just things like that, that may come up.
So if you wanted to put a fence in your yard, even though it was off the road, it would still.
They're talking about, I think we sent you a nice little paragraph a while ago that said the danger of losing what makes block, the island so special, I believe, Nancy wrote this, we are already seeing subtle signs of gentrification, new stone walls being construction that do not look like older walls, dirt and shell driveways being replaced by fancy pavers or asphalt, fences going up, plantings along the side of the road with potential of obstructing long range vistas. So it's sort of, I know you're thinking of, it's subjective, it is.
But there's also
somewhat.
no regulatory authority that passes, which I think is gets to Bill's fundamental question. You're not, it's persuasion, not regulation.
So it's a little bit like historic district board for roadside, but with even less teeth.
Yeah, I mean, the Historic District Commission has statutory authority to say no. This has the authority to say, we wish you would do it a different way.
Keith, there's also,
But this does have provision for judicial review and going to court if ultimately you get an answer you don't like. This is,
Much like the gate, like if you don't want to see the gate in the driveway, but they want the gate.
Right.
Mhm.
I think we have to table this and get a little more information on it.
Really? I was gonna make a motion that we move forward to the application.
well, there may be a space in between, because there is a procedural step that was not described clearly, I don't think. I believe that the council does need to approve the filing of the application, so that a completed application, I think, needs to come before the council for a public hearing before submittal.
So can we make a motion to ask you to prepare
Yes.
an application and it comes back before us?
I think that would be the process.
And then that satisfies what Tristan is saying as well. That we're gonna get more information.
Tristan has to answer that.
We are, correct?
Will you make that motion, Molly?
Right.
Let me
I'll make a motion that we go forward with the preparation of the application. And then when that's ready, you'll schedule it for review.
Is there a
Second.
can I just ask, timing wise? I mean, a lot of other things going on this month.
I would,
This is not.
Mike and I haven't talked about this, but I would put it on the medium level of, it's not at the top of the to-do list. It's in the medium section
Yeah.
of continually working on in the background, but,
Application?
um,
Or-
Yeah, the
That's all right.
application isn't.
No timeline on the application?
we don't have a timeline on the application yet.
Okay.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
We all adjourn.
A little closer.
Yes.
Listen, I gotta learn more about this.
Yeah.
No, they're coming on the 19th.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a fence up, thank you. I gotta learn a little more.